What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Mesh RDA. So here we have yet another Vandy Vape product to take a look at, and today it's the Mesh RDA. I gotta say, this thing is really cool looking, it's very stylish, and with a build deck that is so unique, there is just almost unlimited coiling possibilities. So before I get into this video, I do have to state my intent by saying that I did receive this product for free from the manufacturer for the purpose of doing this video. However, it has no monetary value to me, which means my opinions on it will remain honest and unbiased, of course, as always. With that being said, I'd like to give a huge shout out and thank you to the people over at Vandy Vape for sending this my way. I really love the opportunity to take a look at this one. It has been a whirlwind of an experience. So taking a quick look online, this device is available in two different color options at the moment, black and stainless steel. Not sure if they're planning on releasing other color options for it. However, I really sure hope they do, because a gold and a rainbow option as well would definitely appeal to my sort of sensibility. So with that, I found it online for as cheap as $29.99 from the States. However, obviously Chinese retailers will have it for a little bit cheaper, but then you have to endure the couple weeks it might take to get to your door. So yeah, take a look online. I'll have links right down there in the description if you guys want to pick one of these up for yourself. But without further ado, let's go down to the close-up view and take a better look at this thing. Alright guys, so here is the Mesh RDA in its original box. Let's quickly take a look around the packaging and then we'll talk about what's inside. Anyways, as you can see here, it's a sample. This is the trial production sort of packaging. It's probably different than the regular full production models. But anyways, let's just take a look around anyways. We have a whole bunch of Vandy Vape logos. No matter which way you look at this thing, there's a Vandy Vape logo. And on the back, you have some basic company information, and that's about it. But yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote when it comes to the outside of the box. Let's just take a look inside here, and there we go. We have our Mesh RDA with a pre-installed Ultem drip tip and a super low profile kind of knurled drip tip as well, which is actually what I tend to prefer. So there you go. You get one of those as well. In the bottom here, we have a little tiny sample of three different wire types. So you have Canthal A1 mesh, you have Nichrome 80 mesh, and you have stainless steel 316L mesh as well. So you get a little bit to try out, which is kind of a nice touch there. Here we have all the extra parts and stuff. We have an Allen key and a flathead screwdriver. We have some O-rings. It looks like a full set of O-rings to me, and some extra little grub screws, flathead grub screws as well. And you have a squonk pin. So if you wanted to use this with a squonker, I would definitely recommend trying that out. And a 510 drip tip adapter. So that is what you get inside the box here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the device. All right, guys, let's talk specs. So first of all, it's 24 millimeters in diameter. It's stainless steel construction. It has a postless clamp design, which has dual 10.5 millimeter by 1.2 millimeter terminals, spring-loaded gold-plated clamps, side tension applied via flathead screws. It has peak insulators, 1 millimeter deep juice well, accommodates mesh, single and dual coil configurations, dual adjustable side airflow, 7.5 millimeter by 2 millimeter airflow slots, adjustable single coil airflow setting available, 17 millimeter 810 Ultem wideboard drip tip included, 18.5 millimeter 810 Delrin wideboard docked drip tip included as well. It also comes with a 510 drip tip adapter as well, and it has a gold-plated 510 and squonking pin included. Alright guys, so real quick, I just wanted to break this thing down and give you a look at all the parts and pieces. Here we can see the Ultem drip tip, and it's pretty much your standard Vandy Vape Ultem drip tip, short and fat style, which I like. And it's pretty simple, you know. I also wanted to give you a quick look at this kind of knurled Ultem drip tip. It is a little bit raggedy. I feel like the machining or, you know, an etching on this thing is not the greatest, but at the end of the day, I think it's still pretty neat, and it's surprisingly comfortable to vape on. So here is the bore for that. So there you go. Moving on, we have the top cap section here, which has Vandy Vape inscribed in it. You can see the O-ring right there, which holds in the drip tips. Never had any sort of issues with that whatsoever. And here we have the airflow adjustment sections as well. And give you guys a look at those. It's single and dual coil, of course. And you have another O-ring up here which keeps that top cap section in place, which fits really, really nice. And it's got a smooth kind of chamfer on the inside there, which is very, very nice as well. So let's take a look at the barrel section. Here we have the barrel of the Mesh RDA. Nice, cool looking Mesh RDA logo right there. There's the airflow slots, which have similar kind of design to the Icon RDA, where they have the little inlets at the side as well. Personally, I really don't feel like they make a whole heck of a lot of difference, if anything at all. But there you go. Nothing too much else to talk about there. And the thing you've all been waiting for, the build deck itself. Here we can see the little clamps for the build deck, which is really, really quite unique. You can also kind of see the shallowness of the juice well, if you could even call it a juice well. 1 millimeter deep. That's not very deep. So there you go. You can see the little hole at the bottom there, which is for squonking. If you squonk on this thing and you have it built with mesh, it's going to feed directly into the cotton, which I feel like is the most efficient way to use this device. But anyways, we can see here the screws at the side, the flathead screws, which control the clamps, and dual O-rings as well, which are really, really nice. Never ever had any issues with the barrel or top cap section coming off at all. And there we go. The bottom, you can see the peak insulators once again with gold plated 510 and the Vandy Vape and Mesh RDA logos once again. So there we go. That's all she wrote for the Mesh RDA. Let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the close-up section of the video. Now let's talk about my personal thoughts about this device, some pros, some cons, and whether or not it's worth purchasing. Starting off today with the pros, and my first pro is that it's so innovative. I really love Vandy Vape as a company for kind of pushing the boundaries of what we think about when we think about RDAs. I mean, we haven't thought about mesh since the era of the Genesis atomizer, and here we are today giving it a new kind of life and kind of giving it a new purpose and using it as our heating element, and I gotta say, it's pretty darn cool of them to do that. My second pro today is that there's almost an unlimited amount of builds that you can put in this thing. If you want to use round wire, then you can do a single coil, dual coil, triple coil, quad coil, whatever you want to do there, as well as using it with the mesh itself. For those people struggling with building, you know, they might have a hard time using coils, then there's no easier build deck than this one right here. All you have to do to build on it with mesh is just kind of make a little arch and just lock in both sides. It is super, super easy for anyone that's just getting into the world of RDAs or anything like that, and that is definitely a good thing in my book. My third pro today is actually kind of surprising to me because I was a little bit skeptical when I first saw the pictures of the Mesh RDAs, and when it came out and when I got my hands on it, I was actually quite surprised on how well the mesh actually works. It's an efficient vapor producing machine, and honestly, it is a very easy build as well, so for me, that ticks all the boxes and I'm loving it. And my fourth and final pro for this device is that there is tons of room to build. Now, this is more the functionality side more than the practicality side. But if you wanted to build a 4mm or 4.5mm coil, you can do so in this one. There's tons of room with it, and there's just unlimited possibilities when it comes to this build deck. It's just so wide open and so unique that, you know, for all you builders that like those kind of oddball coils out there, this one's going to be a dream. Alright guys, so moving on to some cons. My first con is that it's difficult to get the wicking just right. Now, I've actually watched a few other people's videos on this RDA, and I gotta say, everyone does it a little bit differently. Now, I feel like my technique is pretty darn good. I've been using it for the past few weeks, and it's been working out really, really well for me. But I feel like for the amateur, someone that doesn't quite understand the fundamentals of wicking and everything, is gonna have a little bit of a hard time with this one. It takes a little bit, even for an experienced builder like myself, to actually kind of get the concept. Now, that's not saying it's impossible. That's not saying without a little bit of practice, you will never be able to get it. But what I'm trying to say is it's just kind of difficult to kind of work it out in your brain. And for me, it actually took a few times wicking this thing to really nail it. My second con for this device is that it's not very forgiving to those who over drip. Now, I am super guilty of this myself. From time to time, I just am too lazy to take off the top cap and actually saturate that piece of cotton, and I just want to just kind of dump the juice right down the drip tip. And when you do that, there's not much room between the airflow slot and the deck itself, and the juice tends to find its way out the airflow holes and all over your mod, your hand, and then you end up with a sticky mess. And my third and final con is more or less an observation than a con that I have with the device itself, and that's that I feel like the mesh systems are not really the future of vaping. I don't feel like it has a lot of staying power, and I feel like it's almost kind of a fad. Obviously, you guys can feel free to disagree with me on that fact, but I just feel like we've seen this before with things like quartz wick or ceramics, stuff like that. I just really don't think that this is going to completely revolutionize the entire industry and everyone will be using mesh in the near future. So that's just my thought. Honestly, you can take it or leave it, but I just felt like it was worth mentioning. So at the end of the day, is this thing worth purchasing? Would I go out of my way to pick one of these up if I didn't get this one for a review? And my answer would be yes, sort of, kind of, maybe-ish. I've got really mixed feelings about this device. Honestly, it's a lot of fun to mess around with. It's cool to, experience something different. But a $30 price tag on an RDA that I just like to mess around with instead of actually, use as my daily kind of RDA, I don't know. It's hard to really justify that purchase. But if you want a really good RDA for a first RDA, if you are tired of building the same old coils on your standard, whatever you got RDA, then this is a lot of fun to, play around with. There's definitely a lot of potential in this sort of system, and I can see a lot of creative coils coming out in the very near future as well. Obviously, you guys saw my Kevlar coil that I use with this mesh, and it was a lot of fun to do that. But anyways, if you want to pick one up for yourself, then I'll leave links right down there in the description below. So that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Don't forget to click the notification bell if you want to be alerted whenever I upload videos. Also, leave me some comments in the box below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the mesh RDA. Do you think that mesh is going to revolutionize this industry and we're all going to be building with mesh in the near future? Let me know right down there in the box below. Also, check out the description of this video where you'll find the advocacy and my social media links as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, vape on!